Hey gang. It's your pal Rob again, and I've got another time-lapse video for you all to enjoy. This is a pretty special one, as it was a commission piece for a very close friend of mine. Before we get into it, let's do the business. Please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel because the YouTube math brain gets a tickle jollier when you all do that. Also, don't forget about my Patreon, Instagram, and other such social medias, which you can find by simply searching Rob's Mental Playground. Let's be the best kind of friends that modern-day interaction via the interwebs can provide. This piece is about perception, playing with the primary colors of light and what they mean or don't mean. The RGB of our screen-based society can lead one to question how humanity moves forward with communication and relationships. That's enough art speak for now, so without further ado, let's grab our brushes and get to painting. Let's go. Let's begin with our strainer bar assembly. I won't always show this, but I think taking a look every now and then couldn't hurt. I apply a small amount of wood glue in each corner and gently knock the pieces together. I'm ever mindful of the corners being as close to 90 degrees as possible with the help of a square. I then staple the corners for some extra support and let the glue dry. It's at this point where I'd written a bit about me trying to juggle 3 canvases, and it was painfully unfunny, and it was also a danger to the artwork itself, so I nixed it. However, I can show you a clip where I completely screw up juggling golf balls. Time to stretch the canvas. With the staple gun, I affix the canvas from the center of each side outward. This is canvas stretching 101, as working from the center outward promotes a taut, even canvas. It should sound very drum-like after stretching, and if it doesn't, then you've got yourself a sad, saggy canvas. Womp womp. I do this for all 3, and then we're ready for some crack. After a few layers of gesso with some sanding in between, we're ready to paint. To achieve some consistency between the 3 sections, as well as to create some interesting texture, I use similar 6-inch wide chunks of cardboard as my brush. This is something I've done for years, and I enjoy seeing how the colors melt together over time. You can see how I use a spray bottle to thin the paint so I can more easily coax it along. Moving into the first layer of the blue section, I continue dragging the paint in a parallel direction. I'm really starting to get some close-up TV pixel vibes from the early goings-on of this piece. This goes very well with its thematics, so I'm pretty content so far. You'll notice some droplet shapes forming, and that comes from spraying thicker streams of water onto the wet paint and letting gravity draw the paint outward. Moving on to the next layer of colors, I rotate the canvas 90 degrees and continue with the parallel chunks. I'm beginning to incorporate color from other parts of this triptych as well. This is for overall continuity, and it also pushes the idea of our eyes blending primary colors to create our visual world. I continue this process with the green third, and I place 2 circular shapes on the wet paint. When dry, we'll have some neat new areas to explore with our eye holes. I finish off this layer of paint by adding a bit of yellow to the red section. Don't worry, it's very McDonald's right now, but the yellow won't be that intense by the end of this piece. I also put some circular shapes on this one as well. Now it's time to get into some more masking. I want to have some interesting vertical textures, so I lay down some tape. I'm hoping to create a somewhat homogenized look with accents, allowing the background to peek through. For this layer of color, I'm going at a 45-degree angle with the paint. The measuring tape helps guide me initially, and I switch to a 6-inch wide putty knife as it's a bit more accurate. I repeat this process with the 2 other sections of the piece. You can see the circular shapes that formed from the last round. Looking pretty neat so far. I already know you're excited for when I pull off that masking tape, so here's that footage with some tape pulling noises that totally weren't added in post. I've put down some more masking tape, and I'm working in sets of 3 or 5 tape lines. There wasn't really much of a reason for it, other than I find it easier to build asymmetry with odd numbers rather than even. It's just the way my brain works, okay? I'm also adding a little drippy droppy of thin white paint on these layers as well. I cannot escape the drop the paint and manipulate lifestyle. I love it so much. I finished this round with the blue section and add a touch of red in there. The paint is layering really well, and we're starting to see some real depth here. Let's do some quick mask removal, then apply a different set of tape lines. I'm loving the little details that result from these quick tape masks. I return to the original orientation of the paintings for one last layer of color. I bring in some lighter values here for added depth, and in this case, I remove the masking tape before it's totally dry, since the paint was relatively thick and won't move around. This piece is now finished, so let's look at each individual third in detail, then see the piece as a whole. I'm happy with how this turned out. By taking a concept as simple as the primary colors of light and trying to push that idea further, I believe this piece succeeds in being visually interesting and conceptually affluent. From a distance, there may not seem to be much going on, but on closer inspection of the work, greater detail and depth are more apparent. That'll do it for this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. You can also support my Patreon and other forms of social media. Just look for Rob's Mental Playground. Prints of these pieces, as well as others, can be found at shop.robsmentalplayground.com. Thank you so much for watching, and please, be kind to each other.